I'm gonna tell you guys why I don't keep food in my room anymore. At least why I don't keep this particular food in my room anymore. So when I was a kid, my dad used to leave the country a lot. Every time he would come back, he'd always bring us some sort of goodie. It'd always be like bracelets, t-shirts, and candy. One time after a trip to, I think it was Dominican Republic, brought us back a bunch of lollipops. These are not normal lollipops like you're thinking in your head. These are these giant brown flat lollipops. Now, instead of eating them, me and my sister decided it would be best to hoard them. Yes, that's right, keep them in our room for as long as possible. For what purpose? I don't know. I think it was probably like, no, we can't eat them now. If something happens and we need them. Bruh. It's not every day that we got candy, apparently. So we kept them in our room. We kind of put them on display, up against the wall, right in between both of our beds, in this very room. This time I was about 6. My sister's about a year and a half older than me, so she was like 7, I guess. Now, these lollipops were given to both of us. They were displayed equally distanced between both of our beds, because they belonged to us both. I'm not really sure how this happened. But one night, me and my sister went to bed, but then my sister started tossing and turning. Calls out for my mom. My mom comes and she's like, what's wrong? Oh my God, I'm ready. This is part 2 of why I don't keep food in my room anymore. So my mom came into our room. She asked my sister, hey, what's wrong? She was like, oh, my body, I'm itchy. My mom's like, oh, maybe there's a mosquito. My sister's like, no, it's all over. She moves my sister out of the bed. Maybe it's your bed. She looks at her blanket. Oh my gosh, there's ants here. She shakes the blanket. Ants crawl everywhere. Under her pillow, ants. She lifts the mattress. Guys, her bed was infested with ants. Why? There was the faintest trail leading to our lollipops. My mom's like, hey, you get out of the bed. So I got out of bed, they checked my bed, was completely clean. There was one measly ant, literally one. One. My bed had no issues. Sister could not sleep there. So they ended up throwing our lollipops away and we were devastated. And my sister got a lot of unnecessary ant bites and I didn't get any. It's okay, because every time we go outside, I get swarmed with mosquitoes and she doesn't get bit at all. Damn, bye.
Storytime on how my mom tried to convince me to have a threesome with her. So I had just graduated high school and my mom was single for a while. Then she started dating this guy, which me and my brother really liked, but he was a few years younger than my mom. And honestly, we were happy for her. She was very depressed and miserable with my dad, so we were okay with it because she was finally happy. So like I said, I had just graduated high school, and I always said I never wanted to go to college, so I started working retail. One day while I was at work, my mom called me and said, hey, let's go out shopping. And who am I to say no? So after I got out of work, I met my mom, and we went lingerie shopping. That's what she specifically wanted to get. So we were at the store, and the first thing she said was, let's get matching sets. Which was weird coming from my mom, but I said, fine, come back for part 2. Storytime on how my mom tried to convince me to have a threesome with her. So she said, I know it sounds crazy now, but hear me out. And then Brian jumped in and said, it's not an actual threesome. What we really want is for you to watch us, but we want you to wear your mom's same lingerie. And I freaked out and literally rashed my mom and told her that for her, I would do anything. But that is so inappropriate, so disgusting, and most important of all, I said, I'm your daughter. And only after all of that, she realized what she tried to propose me was wrong. And she kicked Brian out and tried to tell me how she was so sorry that she's embarrassed for herself. And guys, I called my dad, moved in with my dad. I have some communication with my mom, but after that day, nothing will ever be the same.
Storytime about why my mom kicked me out when I was 16. So a little background information. This had all started as soon as my dad left my mom and I. I was like 13 around the time. Well, ever since then, my mom would have different guys in and out of the house all the time. Like, we were lucky if a month went by and she was still with the same dude. Which, I mean, I kind of get it because my dad did leave us for a woman that he had started another family with. But at the same time, it was just a whole mess. Anyway, so she had got with this new guy, and we're gonna call him Tyler. And by the way, the dudes that she would date, they would literally live at our house. Anyway, so a week after he moved in, I started getting really close to him, which usually never happens. Usually I would try to keep my distance because I knew how wrong it was of her having all these different guys in the house when I'm only 16. Anyways, Every time that my mom would go to work, he would invite me to go see a movie, and he would just be really flirty with me. And he was only 6 years older than me, and my mom was 32. You do the math anyways, like for part 2.
Hello everybody, today I did an only Dollar Tree challenge. I'm here with my friend. Hey. She's the camera girl. She's really good. So yeah, props to her. If she has an account, I'll add it in the caption. But yeah, so yeah, today we did I know the cup looks really dirty by the way, but it's just the outside with slime on it. Excuse me. But yeah, and I accidentally got some borax in there. I know, I'm a mess, but yeah. And this is what I used because it's cheap and I didn't want to spend money because again, I'm trying to show you guys only Dollar Tree stuff, like cheap. And anyways, yeah. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. Besides, thank you so much for 33,000 views on a video and almost 500 followers. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, props to my camera girl. Also, she lives in a different town, so soon I'm gonna have crappy quality for a little while. But every time she comes back, I'll have good quality. Sorry. And yeah, thank you so much. I never thought I'd make it this far. I'm 13. Don't shadow ban me, please.
I found out my husband was sleeping with my sister. And here's the full story. No, I didn't find them sleeping together. No, I didn't find any text messages. A little backstory, Ben and I have been together for 10 years and have been married for 3 years. So it's not like it's a recent relationship. Honestly, I wouldn't care. Good thing we didn't have any kids because I would not know how to deal with that. Everything started getting weird after we got married. He was always tired from work. He would never want to spend time with me on his days off. He would actually leave me to go spend time with his friends, which was a lie. Well, at one point, I got sick of it and I started asking him questions. Like if he still wanted to be with me, did I do something wrong? Even though I knew I didn't do anything wrong, but you never know. But he would always avoid answering me. A year and a half after our marriage, it started getting even weirder. He wouldn't leave his phone laying around, and every time he was on his phone, he would hide it from me. And that's when my gut feeling started. I decided to download Tinder, Bumble, Grindr, every dating app out there. I made multiple profiles of different women. I'm running out of time. Follow me for part 2. I found out my husband was sleeping with my sister part 2. I made multiple profiles on all of these dating apps, and these profiles were from women that are very, very close to me, my best friends and my sisters. Because listen, it's always someone close to you. At least that's what I like to think. Setting up all those accounts took too long, but it was definitely worth it. I only found him on one dating app, and that was on Bumble, and he matched with my sister. I decided to start the conversation with, "Hey Ben, that's so awkward, we matched." It took him about 2 days to answer me back because he was off on those 2 days. Apparently he deletes the app on his days off, and then when he gets back to work, he installs them again. His first message to my sister was, "Hey, I miss you so much, I can't believe we stopped talking." I decided to go with it and I said, "Just talking?" He said, "Of course not, you know what I mean, I miss your body, I miss everything about you." Long story short, I waited for him to get home from work, I showed him the messages, I decided to get a divorce, and I also got everything. Do you guys want to know what she did to her sister? Follow me and comment below. Story time! This is how I got revenge on my sister for sleeping with my husband. If you haven't seen that story time, scroll down and go check it out. So before my ex-husband and I told our family that we were getting a divorce, I decided to throw a little party. Of course, he wasn't invited, but I told my family I had something very important to tell them. This was all the weekend before Easter. Yes, 2021. I told my sister that she had to be there because I had something very, very important to tell all of them. What my ex-husband didn't know is that I went through his phone and I found all her naked pictures. I went online and I bought a projector and I made a little movie with all of her pictures. Also screenshots of our conversation on Bumble. How fun. Well, the weekend came and I was regretting all of it. But as soon as she got to my house, she asked for my ex-husband. And I was like, oh hell no, this is not going to happen. I got drinks for all of my family. My parents were there, cousins, uncles, aunts, just everyone. Follow me for part 2.
Storytime of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she even plotted to kill my boyfriend. So at the time, me and this girl, let's just call her Olivia, had only been friends for about 2 years. I mean, we really did everything together. We were with each other 24/7, and I mean, we were pretty good friends. But the only thing about our friendship is she did not like when I had other friends. I mean, she didn't have any other friends herself, but literally she would joke around about strangling my other friends because she didn't like when I gave my attention to anyone else. But honestly, I just thought of it as a joke. And then I started dating this guy, let's just name him Jacob. He was probably the sweetest guy I had ever met, and he was a real simp for me. So we start dating and about 4 or 5 months go by, and he started getting these texts from a random number. And it would always be cringy things like leave her or you die, get away from her, and like stupid cringy threats. Then one night me and him were just hanging out. Then he gets a text with his exact address saying he had till tonight to leave me or he wouldn't see another day. Then we hear a knock at the door. I'm running out of time, like for part 2.
One time I was behind the register at Victoria's Secret. This customer walks in and immediately everybody spots her as a red flag. She's just picking up items, throwing them in her bag, not looking at sizes, not looking at colors. So everybody's like, everyone's on their walkie like, watch this customer. She's coming to the fitting room. She's headed to the cash wrap. Somebody get her. Check her ID. Get her. Get her. She has a bag full of stuff. And guess who gets her at the register? Me. So she comes to my register and she dumps out her stuff and we're having a regular conversation. Hi, how are you? Yada, yada, yada. Her total comes up to probably between $700 to $900. It was expensive. My manager is at the register next to me talking to me on the walkie. Ashley, make sure you get that ID. Don't matter what she using, make sure you get that ID. So I ask her for the ID because she's paying credit. Why do you need to ask for my ID? Just take it, run it. I'm like, no ma'am, I'm sorry, I need your ID for the purchase. She starts to raise her voice at me.
Storytime. I babysat a lot of kids in my neighborhood, and there was this one night that I was babysitting a 2-year-old. It was around 10 o'clock at night, so the kid was sleeping, and I was just sitting in the living room. In the living room, there was a big TV, a couch, and then behind me, it was a wall with a giant window. So it was really late at night, I had nothing to do, so I was Snapchatting my friends. If you Snapchat anybody, I'm sure you know that sometimes you Snapchat really fast. You don't even know or look at what you're sending. I was mass snapping all my friends, and then one of them replied 10 minutes later. And he said, "Who's that guy behind you?" And I turned around and no one was there, so I'm like, he's playing a joke on me. But then I get another Snapchat from this friend I had, and she lives all the way across the country. They don't know each other. And she said, "I think there's someone outside." So I was really freaked out because I was alone, there was a giant window behind me, apparently there was someone outside. I wasn't gonna call the child's parents because I didn't want to freak them out, but I was scared. So then I went around the house, locked all of the doors. Sorry, it's a really long story, like for part 2.
Hi guys, welcome to a slime review. This is a butter slime by Compound Kings. So I got this from Target for $10, in case you were wanting it. But yeah, first touch was a little bit, watery. Just like kind of like a wet texture. But I did like how it didn't leave any residue on my hands. Another thing about this one is it doesn't stick to things as much, so that's really good. And it wasn't sticky, of course. It was like 90% clay, honestly, so I don't expect it to click. And this definitely was a butter slime, but I think there was like too much clay in it or something. But it's definitely really fun, and I do recommend. But if you guys want more slime reviews, I'll see if Sorry, if this video does good, I'll do more of these. But yeah, thumbs up.